Welcome to Movies and All. Welcome to my Naked Gun review. I got an opportunity to see The Naked Gun early in theaters, and in this movie, Frank Drebin Jr. and the police squad follows several cases that seemingly are intertwined with a bigger scheme of manipulation and destruction. The movie is, of course, the reboot to the beloved Naked Gun franchise, one of the perfect trilogies I have encountered in my day, a true comedy staple. Many have praised this movie for the big return of comedy onto the big screen. And well, it sure does bring back comedy in a big fashion, but this movie also brings a whole baggage of 2025 along with it. Yet somehow the movie also is lacking in areas. I'll get into my thoughts in just a moment, but first make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you do, and also hit the like button. It would really help me out. All right, let's talk Naked Gun.
This oven is disgusting.
We're going to be breaking down Naked Gun by a couple of categories. Those categories being action, plot, comedy, lessons, suspense, and horror in that order. Action. The action in this movie is fine. It is inventive sometimes, which does help, but overall it's nothing too extraordinary. Problem with the action is connected with a deeper problem of the movie, its tone. The movie at times feels like a Naked Gun movie inside a straight to streaming 2025 action movie. More on that in the plot. The plot of this movie is reminiscent of the first movie. In fact, the entire character arc of Frank Drebin and the whole story is reminiscent of the original. He goes on a mission, he gets a love interest connected to something nefarious, he fights a wealthy CEO, he has to infiltrate a sporting event. It's all the same here. What the movie does this time around is really, and I mean really, modernize it. The movie is not trying to replicate the original vibe of the 80s Naked Gun. It's trying to do its own thing, and in that, it strays away from being a Naked Gun movie at times. It's only till the comedy returns that the movie feels like a Naked Gun movie again. Having just watched the original trilogy, this movie, compared to the others, has a weird exposition and uneven pacing at times, which doesn't help. The culprits of this, in my opinion, is the heavy modernization and the action serious tone at times. Going back to the plot and the story, this movie ends up in a good place after all. It's not like the story is bad at all, uh, but there are some antagonistic aspects that are taken too seriously, as if they were pulled from the latest Mission Impossible movie, which, again, strays from the Naked Gun atmosphere. I know they're trying to do something different here, but they're going way too far beyond the original vibe of the movies. Upon a real watch, I'll probably get over these flaws, but I'm being very critical of these elements because I knew this movie could have been as good as the original, but it had to bring in some baggage, as I just said. On the performances, Liam Neeson and the rest of the cast go to work on this movie. You could see the passion oozing from the screen, which is kind of what you want to see. The chemistry between Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson is actually quite electrifying, but short lived with very scattered romance all throughout. In the previous movies, he did it all for romance, while romance in this movie is kind of just like an afterthought. Also, shout out to Kevin Durant, massively underused character, to the point that it's like criminal. Just a quick note, this movie has a great production level with surprising production design. The score of this movie is a little lackluster, but it all works out at the end of the day. And make sure to stick around for the credits. The credits themselves are funny, as well as the post-credit scene. Comedy. The comedy. Oh, the comedy. This is the whole reason I'm making this video after nearly a year's absence. The jokes in here are great. They're fantastic. There are minor gags, running gags, and full-on big sequences. However, a big movie-defining sequence is kind of missing in here, as well as a hilarious open. At least the title card is funny. The comedy's not a problem in this movie. In fact, the comedy is what makes this movie so refreshing and distinctly Naked Gun. The true problem is where the comedy is placed. The movie, unlike the original Naked Gun, takes a big dump of comedy at once in between serious and action-packed moments. For example, Frank is talking with his love interest Beth at the police station about a serious death after just narrating to the audience how fine she is. Then there's a serious moment about actual police work followed by a very minor joke. The movie decides to take itself more seriously for 2025 audiences, and I don't think that's for its benefit. That just takes away from the comedy at times. Additionally, background visual gags are a little absent in this movie, with only one scene truly emulating that. Nonetheless, this movie is a clear comedy and a parody movie. I would say that this is the funniest movie of 2025 thus far, although this one's going to be hard to beat though. Side note, the coffee budget on this movie must have been insane. Lessons. Can't believe I'm saying this, but if you look hard enough, there are several messages in The Naked Gun, and the most prominent being of wealth and class, especially in the face of danger. I don't think I can go much further without saying spoilers, but the message is very clear enough for any viewer to notice. Suspense. The stakes in this movie are predictable, but in a Naked Gun fashion, you don't really know how this story's going to end up. Like, there's a cameo in here that I did not even see coming. I didn't think this movie had room for cameos, but it did. All the suspense in this movie comes from the shock value of the jokes. Horror. You'd be surprised. There is horror chase sequence in Naked Gun, but of course it is just for comedy. But horror nonetheless, you know when you see it. Alright, now that I've broken down all the categories, it's time for me to reveal my final rating of The Naked Gun. Action, I'll give it a 2. Plot, I'll give it a 2.5. Comedy, I'll give it a solid 4. Could have been 5 stars, but as I said, tone. Lessons, 1.5. Yes, a 1.5, that much. Suspense, 1.5. And horror, a flat 0. Overall, I give it a solid 3. 3 stars, 3 whatever, 3 pineapples, whatever you want. I'd also recommend you to see The Naked Gun in theaters this weekend and support more comedy movies. Show the studios we want big comedies back in theaters. Thanks for watching my Naked Gun review. Please share any opinions down below. I'd love to read it. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell if you do, and also hit the like button. This was Movies and All. Hasta la vista.